Yeah, it's great to see you, and I'm going to move that out of the way for now. If you do have a question, don't forget to type it. This morning we had really interesting news. I'm going to start on pound pairs for that reason. I'm going to cover various ones. I would think so. Um, think then I'll go over other major things like gold, oil, stuff like that. But I did a post this morning on the FTSE. I'm not going to cover that now, but I did it. So go on my profile and watch that if you're interested in the UK stock market. You had UK inflation data. UK inflation data came in cooler. Okay, so basically it dropped. It still means prices are going up. And I think a lot of the politicians in the UK government, the Conservative Party, are using all of this as a means to gain popularity. If you're in the UK, you probably know what I'm talking about because the situation really isn't very good for them. You had the Chancellor saying how great things are and how you're going to have long term growth. But anyhow, when you get that inflation drop, like you had this morning, what happens is it lessens the chance of a rate hike. People don't want to save their money as much, and that's why you're now getting the pound pairs pull back. In particular, we can start on the pound New Zealand. I've done many analyses on that, and this is going to be a lot more up to date. Of course, if you've watched my posts on this, you'll know we shorted up here, okay? And similarly, like we always do, and similar to my price action FTSE 100 video this morning, you could reshort again, and the market fell greatly. We then looked at these areas for long entries, really great tech zones. You can see we fell in line with some very strong longer term support. That is what caused your bounce, that's what caused your reaction, and that's what has led you to where you are now. So if you had it long, great work. I did mention to pull off those longs on the price rise up to this point. Okay, if you reshort it again and again, in line with key price action rules, you probably bagged quite a lot of profit. Now, I would specifically myself look to exit any shorts you had here because you've got your pull down, the price has come lower, and you are coming into some minor support. Okay, you can see that's where you have various candle wicks over to this side. So they're local, very local support. This was sort of early November, a week and a half ago or so. But you saw the price go to the upside. And what you're seeing now is just a return to that. Okay, so quite a forceful move this morning on your pound New Zealand as well as other pound pairs. But I wouldn't be shocked if you get a bit of an impulse reaction today and you get intraday longs that pull you up at least slightly. That just comes because you've come all the way from 2097 to 2064. It's quite a long way, all in this very short period of time, okay, from yesterday morning to now. Okay, so my bias very near term for the pound New Zealand is to the long side. Now, if you do get a further fall from where you are, I don't really particularly like this first level I'm looking at here. It would go in line with the sideways market, but if I was really looking for a better deal, buying your pound New Zealand, it would probably be more feasible underneath this low. I would say it's relatively likely you may find that you get a bounce in line with this low here, okay? But for the longer term trader and in line with the sideways movement you've seen for a significant period of time, I'd probably reflect off lower price action levels like this one, just taking you nearer those higher key moving averages and nearer key average price that you'd probably be looking for if you were looking for a better deal. What I mean by all of that specifically is the following. You can see, like I said, if you look at the price data from the points I'm now going to label, okay, really starting from October 2017 to now, you'll notice it is very sideways. And if you are going to look to drift to the downside, which given you've had that, well, 2017 onwards, it's quite a long time, 6 years. If you were to follow that trajectory, which, like I said, you've seen for a long period of time, you would expect to come under this low and you would get a much better deal to the long side down here. I'm not saying it won't bounce before then. I'm just saying that is where ideally I would prefer it long. Just on the tip of this lowest key moving average of 20 MA on your higher time frame. So it will require significant fall, absolutely. I wouldn't short it at this point, okay? although it is pulling down quite hard. You know, it's just not a short because you've already come down. You're shorting after the impulse. Um, but in the very near term, I wouldn't be surprised if you pop up slightly. Um, I would say though, I like it lower down here for long. So once you get nearer to 0.000, or you know, you could go on forever. I like it long. I would probably say it's relatively feasible that your stock oscillator will come down like this by that point. So, in other words, long-term investor long zone, it's going to exist around that level in line with all of this price action. It's really, really strong long-term support. You've got key MAs circling around here. So a pull down there is very, very ideal, seconded by further DCA entries lower. Now remember, like I said, if you've done this for 6 years, the price has gone sideways for 6 years, okay? I'm drawing it for you now. You can see this clearly. Um, April 17, November 23, more than 6 years, okay, 6.5 years, however long, or more than that. Um, you know, trading in the same way I'm mentioning with correct risk management would have given you consistent gains, actually on a historical basis. It's just about looking for the better deal within that longer term move. Ultimately, you will probably find that the pound New Zealand goes higher than the previous high at some point and lower than the previous low. But all you can do is trade the value in between that. Okay, nearer 213 is short, lower throughout is long. Normally, I label these sort of mid levels in your sideways price channels. If you've had significant sideways movement, like on your euro, pound, etc., I label them because they really offer a point of, a point where the price bounces. It happens many times throughout. You can see all the places I've labeled it's happened to the upside. And therefore, similarly, I wouldn't be shocked if you get the same thing, but in the opposite way. So pulling down and a further bounce. So those are your long planned entries. I would say if it goes the other way, I'm just going to look short back up here. Okay. You have got minor short zones there, wouldn't take a lot with it, but ultimately anything back nearer these previous highs is a short for me. Wouldn't be shocked if ultimately, if you do get here, you can higher than that. So just be careful, make sure your entries are light accordingly. So that's the pound New Zealand. I'm